Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 14 of season 3 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at Circuit Zandvoort. Of course, one of my probably worst tracks so far of F123. If, however, you missed out the video that went live yesterday from Belgium, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, Spa-Francorchamps delivered probably one of the most interesting and intense races I've ever had inside F123. Of course, we've finally picked up some momentum. We're on a good run of form at the moment as we head into the into the Dutch Grand Prix. Still Sergio Perez leading the way by 14 points ahead of Max Verstappen, but we've now jumped our teammate Alex Albon there up into P7. You can currently see there 89 points behind Ferrari and Mercedes as they come into the second half of the year tied on points. But yeah, the team's got a lot of momentum behind us at the moment. We're going to try and continue that on into the second half of the campaign, but honestly, I'm a little bit worried about what the pace is going to be like at Zandvoort. I'm not quite expecting us to have the same skill as we did at France and Belgium. Well, I'm still very nervous about jinxing myself if I abandon the Q1s from this series, so despite the fact we've been on the front row in the last two Grand Prix, albeit last time was because of the sprint race result, still featuring Q1s in these videos, only obviously lightly and everything like that. But I just know as soon as I try to avoid it again, I'll get like a Canada where we end up out in that first session as yellow flags out. Someone's got issues apparently early on in free practice, and that seems to have gone away again. Don't often see yellows in qualifying. Up over the line though, first lap, immediately we'll go into P5 there, little way off of other cars I'd want to be competing with, but it's an okay benchmark. Well, we did make it out of Q1 then with that single run, but yeah, heading into Q2, we were about a second away from the out-and-out pace of the front runners. Obviously, we were on one step harder tyres, so nothing too much to worry about, but now as we head into Q2 and Q3, we want to be aiming to get the car into the 1:07 7s there, as every other car now back into the pit lane, so I've got a free track to really try and wring the neck out of this thing. Seems absolutely mad there that you want to be aiming at about the 50-metre board for the braking at turn 1. Well, 6 tenths up on Lando Norris come the end of sector 2, so hopefully as long as I don't do anything stupid, it should be a pretty competitive lap time then as we round our way out of the final corner. I've really focused on trying to make sure we got the pace down through the twisty bits. There's a 7.6 there, going to put us marginally behind both Albon and Perez. Okay, so we're going to get 2 stabs at this then as we jump into Q3, but looks like top runners could be aiming for 1:06 there. Perez and Charles Leclerc on a 1:07 flat come the end of Q2. Max Verstappen has been weirdly off his teammates' pace so far here in qualifying, but let's just try and get a good banker on the board then for our first run in Q3. I sense opportunity. Pretty much matching Oscar Piastri at the moment on a 1:07 force. This is still going to be an improvement over my Q2 time, but what are we going to be able to do to make our way out of the final couple of corners up towards the start-finish line? What's the time going to be? 1:76. That's only good enough for P8 there, but Albon is only in 7th, so yep, my initial worries were true. I'm just not convinced this car's going to be that quick here. Well, we've got one more chance of this in Q3. 40 seconds left on the clock, so every other driver is coming towards the end of their runs, but we're less than 2 tenths away from Alex Albon. We're not that far away from pole at the moment. George Russell currently quickest on a 1:07.2, so I think a lot of drivers are waiting to get their final run in here and try and put some big times on the board. Let's just go for it. we've been pretty consistent again. I think I got a better run out of the final corner, but Sainz has gone quicker than me. Can we get back up to our teammate Alex Albon here at the end of qualifying? I think we've stayed P9. P9 on a 107.5 there. We do reclaim 8th. But yeah, the car just simply is not quick enough. Well, I say we've got no pace there. 3/10 away from pole position. And that's only good enough for P8 here in the Dutch Grand Prix. But Perez on the pole ahead of George Russell and Max Verstappen there. Lewis Hamilton will line up in P4. But I'm pretty certain that's the closest top 10 there has ever been in a Formula 1 Grand Prix qualifying session. But yeah, 3/10 away. Hopefully we can find a little bit extra come race day.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and to the Zandvoort circuit. We're 25 miles away from Amsterdam for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. A lap of this short 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit features 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with a 678 metre main straight heading into turn 1, Tarzan Corner. And on that straight with DRS open, that'll be the best overtaking opportunity on this track. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Mr. Monaco, Sainz, Gasly, Norris, Ocon, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, Joe, De Vries, Albon, Bottas, Teo Pourchaire, Tsunoda, Stroll, Sargent, Enzo Fittipaldi. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? That was a great podium in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Right, well here we are then, trackside for the Dutch Grand Prix, and we've gained 1 place by virtue of Alex Albon with some penalties, so hopefully we can try and use that to our advantage here as well. 42 minutes, it's one of these slower paced Grand Prix of F123, but I'm feeling weirdly confident still. I reckon we might have the pace to get a podium. We also seem to be one of the only cars on a set of softs, so we've got to try and push on and be aggressive early. Right, let's do this thing though. Dutch Grand Prix time, waiting on those 5 red lights. And it is lights out, and away we go. Hamilton struggling ever so slightly there. Verstappen going nowhere. We're going to be almost 4 wide as we head down towards turn 1. But the Dutchman has been off the pace all weekend, and that's going to make life even worse for him. 3 wide as we make our way out the first corner, but we have swept through and immediately into P5. Hamilton side by side with Charles Leclerc. Whoa, Lewis. I think he just tried to run a little bit wide up the hill, and there was plenty of wheel banging between myself and the 7-time world champion. But we're up to P4 then off the start of this race, and I thought maybe there could be a chance of a podium today. That has been exactly the start we would have needed. We know how difficult it is to make places up around this venue, and so we had to be brave off the launch, and that's exactly what we've done. So it is now 4 cars from 4 different teams occupying the top 4 positions here early on, but Sergio Perez could not have asked for a much better start there. Kept the lead away from George Russell, watched his teammate drop backwards as well into P6. So Perez, of course, will want to try and keep the tide turning in his direction. Max Verstappen with a dominant win last weekend. No one apart from myself could really get close, and I picked up a 3-second time penalty anyway. So today, Perez knows, especially on Max's home Grand Prix, that he needs to try and get a win. We're running a lot of downforce though, so straight line speed is going to be compromised. Lewis actually does try and have a look to the outside by the time we reach turn 1, but we will defend from him there. Perez just trying to break free early on as we'll actually set a new fastest lap of the day. It's reassuring then that we are ever so slightly quicker on the softer compounded tyres, but yeah, trying to keep Hamilton and Verstappen at bay. Like I said, I still feel like this car maybe sort of 2-3 tenths away from the other vehicles around us. We've got a very, very good high-speed car You know, we can sort of match Red Bull around those tracks, but Red Bull, again, just like real life 2023, just got a quicker car everywhere else. Whoa. Oh, that was scary. Just got on the inside curbing as we head out on towards the final corner. Luckily, we'll lock the brakes up and manage to keep the car facing the right way, but Oscar Piastri now going to try and have a look past me as Verstappen has got the run on Lewis Hamilton there, and I think might just be able to make the place up through turn 1. Hamilton's going to make him work for it. I think the Dutchman has done it there. Max Verstappen swoops back up then. No, he doesn't. Hamilton, sorry, has hung on to P4. Okay, so Hamilton, yep, wants to get his elbows out. Yeah, just a little mistake there early on. Goes to show how hard we're pushing. Zandvoort, though, is a very, very difficult circuit. There's just no room for any kind of error. And, of course, the AI won't make those errors, but you absolutely can there. Just things like dipping the rear wheel in the gravel through there. But what I need is Verstappen and Lewis to continue fighting if I want to close back up to them. We definitely have got the pace to hang on in front of cars, but I just cannot seem to make an impact against the cars in front of me. That's not going to do me any favours either. Big lock up down at turn 1 as we just actually ran a bit wide on the entry. Piastri again will try and look for a move, but again we will gather it up and we will hang on. Carlos Sainz now all over my gearbox and actually down the inside of me at turn 1 as Hamilton and Verstappen continue to duke it out. Looks like this time around Verstappen has made the move stick and it's going to allow me to get a couple of tenths closer once again. But yeah, really does feel like we're on a bit of an uphill battle today. This track, this car, just do not gel. Ow! Carlos Sainz has just driven into the back of me down at the hairpin, or the stadium even, whichever one you want to call it, but that's not helpful. Luckily, of course, no damage from that, but yeah, we are starting to cause a bit of a train already. I can't help but feel the soft tyres might not have been a wise choice either. We are struggling for tyre life as here comes Carlos. We're going to try and defend it. Big brave move down the inside late on the brakes as the Spaniard will still be there on the exit, but can't quite put the power down. No, 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 no. Come on, gather it up. So frustrating, so easy to do around here. And that is us now down into the final points paying position. Surely we're still quicker than the likes of Lando, Norris in a McLaren car, but yeah, just any little error, you even nudge that curve. I think that needs a bit of a remodel, to be honest, because it just throws you off the venue. But yeah, down into P10. Though back on the offensive here, Lando Norris. Like I said, definitely don't want to be slower than that McLaren car around here, so we'll try and give him a bit of a squeeze, and we will make it back up then and into 9th. Bit of a scary move to make up there, but honestly, actually, I find it much easier to get a run up there than out of the final corner. Magnussen and Aston Martin should still be pretty racy, so we'll see what the pace is like against him. Over the back of Magnussen once again, those who make our way through the banked final corner. Are we going to be able to get a run on the Dane? Obviously not a home race for him, but I think it is the closest track. Whoa! No, 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 no. Just nicked the rear wheel on the gravel, and that's going to send us right around. Don't hit the wall. Oh, come on. Get on with it. As if this race couldn't get any worse there. Trying to defend the place from Lawson rather cheekily. But yeah, just one little error, and it's just led to so many more. Want to try and get to the end of 15 on these tyres, but they already feel like they're giving up the ghost. You know, after the last couple of races, it's really easy to start thinking, you know, we might be ready to fight for a world championship, but we've still definitely got those venues inside F123 that are a harsh reminder of, you know, some of the races you need to be able to get sorted before you can fight for a crown. But Perez has definitely built up a lead at the front. However, yeah, I stand by my argument. There's no way we could match Red Bull, Mercedes, or sensibly Ferrari today. I think Aston Martin as well are probably on a similar pace to us. But I'm sort of looking on the mini-map. If I could get back ahead of Lando and the Alpines, don't think it would be the worst day in the world. And despite his penalties then, Albon and I have still found each other this afternoon here in Zandvoort. It's probably going to get a run on me. I don't really want to fight him all too much, especially when we're going to be boxing at the end of this lap. So Albon up into 12th place, but 12th and 13th for a team that's been able to fight for wins and 1-2s in recent Grand Prix. Still is a wildly inconsistent car. No. Yeah, of course. You watch the AI take that curb, you do it, and it just sends you off. There we go. Albon, Ocon even, and Lando Norris into the pit lane. We're going to join them then, so we're not even going to be able to get an undercut on them. Did get it slopped, that's fine. Yeah, so we are really in trouble this afternoon. Then if I can't even undercut them, I mean, all we're really hoping for is a safety car or something like that in the second half of the day. Zandvoort's pit lane notoriously tight as well, but as we head back out onto the circuit then, looks like Albon's come out in clear air. Ocon as well, just able to hang on ahead of the Williams of Fittipaldi and Logan Sargent. So we've got to try and pull our finger out. Sargent, Fittipaldi and Nick de Vries into the pits then, so we're going to be back up into P13. So this race has very much been split into two halves then. We've kind of got the back markers and the front runners.
4.3 seconds.
6 seconds still behind Ocon. Oh, there we go. New fast lap of the day. Not too worried about the tyres at the moment, Mark. We can cross that bridge when we get there, but fastest lap of the day. We need to get into that top 10 if we want the bonus point. Albon into the pit lane then, so should be close between myself and our teammate when he heads back out of the pit lane. Gap to Ocon is still generally coming the right direction, but it is still going to take a lot of work between now and the end of the afternoon, as there is Albon bolting on a set of the hard compound tyres, purple again through the final sector. And we will stay ahead of our teammate once more. Well, purple sector 1, green in sector 2. Is this going to be enough? Oh, 300ths of a second away from a new fastest lap of the day. But the pace is good. Ooh, okay. Sainz then with issues. This could work out really nicely for us, as he's ahead of Lando and both those Alpines. Even if he slows them down just through the middle sector, we could gain a lot of free time. This is good to see. Sainz is still ahead of the Alpines by the time we get back towards turn 1. So maybe we can try and take a couple of seconds out of them all. Did not know I was outside of track limits there, but apparently so. First warning of the day. I honestly was going to say how it's near impossible to pick up a warning at Zandvoort, but of course I found a way. And Perez now has gone and snookered away my fastest lap bonus point as well, so not a fan of the Mexican right now. Sainz losing places though. Esteban Ocon has found a way through. Gasly though can't quite do anything yet, but we are closing in. Gasly to the outside of Sainz in through the stadium. He's costing them both a fair chunk of time, but Gasly has done it. And now Carlos Sainz is going to be the next car in front of me, the one in P11. So we still need to get one of those Alpines if I want any chance of scoring points here. But Gasly has dropped behind his teammate there as well. We've got yellows out. Someone's got issues. Is that Gasly? No, it's Albon behind me. My teammate out of the Dutch Grand Prix. And I'm still yet to get a mechanical failure on F123. But that makes me a little bit nervous. Could really do with a safety car. Don't think we're going to get one though at this stage of the afternoon. But Albon out of the Dutch Grand Prix. Well, Lando Norris has really fallen off the back of those Aston Martins as well a little bit further up. We need to get a run on Sainz though before we get to the yellow flags, so we're going to get down the inside of him. There we go, past Carlos Sainz we will go. Slot back over to the racing line into turn 1. There is the stricken Audi of my teammate, but not only now can we potentially get a top 10, we could actually score a few points here. As Albon and Lando duking it out. Lando Norris has lost the place to the Frenchman. Gasly having a look to the outside of Lando Norris. I don't know if the McLaren's got any mechanical issues, but he certainly is slowing down at the moment. As Gasly there, is he going to be able to complete the move? Lando Norris will just slot in behind him. So we're now inside the DRS range. Maybe Ocon, that's the chance to break free that he would have needed at this late stage of the afternoon. Of course, we've also got to be careful. If Ferrari gets Sainz's car fixed again, he could be a real threat towards the end there. So, oh, look how little room Gasly is prepared to give Lando down in towards that first corner. Both Alpines now inside the top 9. But can we try and get a run on Lando as we head up the hill? So we've already done it once on the McLaren driver this afternoon. You can see trying to ride the throttle as early as possible. And we're going to muscle our way to the inside there. Barely had the front wing alongside him as we make our way through the top of the hill, swoop round the outside, and a fantastic little move, if I do say so myself, to get us back inside the top 10 of the Dutch Grand Prix. But I think all of the other medium runners are really starting to struggle. Here goes Gasly on his teammate Esteban Ocon. One Frenchman making big moves here late on in the day. He's going to get down the inside, and I wonder if Ocon's just been told by the team to let him have it, as we're still in hot pursuit of the pair of them. Gasly through. and up into P8. And there is still a lot of racing going on late on here as well. Gasly, a little bit of a lock-up though as we head out of the hairpin, and Esteban Ocon is going to lose the place to myself. Can we try and get a run on the second Alpine as well as we make our way up the hill? Ocon actually hasn't given up on this just yet. This is fantastic racing late on in the day. We are up into P9 though. Gasly is right there in front of me. Could we still recover P8? Fair, 7 laps to go here of the GP. Magnussen is actually dropping back towards Gasly. Nice clutches quite aggressively at this stage of the day. So I think Aston Martin as well might just be struggling for a little bit of out-and-out pace here. I need to try and move past the Frenchman ASAP if I want any chance at the Aston Martin. But this could still be quite close towards the end. For how much I struggled in the first half of this race, I've been pleasantly surprised by the pace we've had on the mediums there. As to the inside of Gasly will go as we make our way up the hill, just trying to squeeze him out, and we will swoop round him there, being very, very, I wouldn't say dirty, but tricky with how much we're squeezing the AI at the top of the hill. But next up, Kevin. Yeah, 4 laps to go. We're not going to close up to Magnussen before the end unless he's hit some sort of issue. Our battle is going to be with Gasly behind us. But to be honest, with everything that's gone on today, we might have been able to get the Aston Martin still. But yeah, we've definitely not had the pace of the big 3 teams. Right in the final corner though, to start the last lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. And I tell you what, for what has been quite a tough race, our endgame pace has been phenomenal here in the last few laps. I think we have been one of the quickest cars around the circuit, but unfortunately it's all come a little too late here. Has yet again been a bit of a tough learning experience. P8 based on recent results sounds really painful, but yeah, the fact that Alex was barely closing in on me in the second half, obviously once we were next to each other after the pit window, goes to show the car just was not working around this venue the way we would have wanted it. Like I said, you know, had things gone well, could have probably got the Astons, but look at how far Charles Leclerc is in that Ferrari. I don't think we would have been any much closer to them than the young Australian Oscar Piastri has been able to get here today. Sergio Perez out of the final corner. He is going to win in Max Verstappen's back garden there. Heartbreak for the Dutchman, who isn't even going to pick up a trophy this weekend, as both Mercedes will be on the podium there. Verstappen P4 ahead of Charles Leclerc in at P5. Both Aston Martins ahead of myself, and both Alpines will round out our top 10 here today. But another big shift in the World Championship and another learning experience for ourselves. It's P8 in the Dutch Grand Prix.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
What a great race then, and a magnificent victory here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I feel consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. Let's see how the driver's standings have changed. A result that will make Sergio Perez happy as he pushes his championship lead out even further. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
Let's move on to the constructors. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there we are then. Perez, easy dub for the Mexican there. Pole position, fastest lap, race victory. Never looked back from it. And yeah, fantastic drive there by him. George Russell will beat out Lewis Hamilton there for P2. And then, like we said, Verstappen, Leclerc, both Aston Martins, myself, and both Alpines will round out our point scorers. Carlos Sainz, 30 seconds clear, and Nick de Vries there. So if that doesn't show a divide between our top 12 and the rest of the field, I don't know what does. Championship-wise, though, it does mean the gap of the top back up to 28 points then for Sergio Perez. So he's got that one-win margin over his teammate and biggest rival once more. Russell's still in P3 there, with a bit of safety now from Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. And Hamilton finally get back into the swing of things. 2 points back now behind Carlos there. We're now 6 ahead of our teammate, but I still reckon, you know, we could, if things go well, battle Lewis and those Ferraris right towards the end of the campaign. And Oscar Piastri again will close in on my teammate there. Constructors-wise, though, Red Bull still out in front. Mercedes, though, build up a big buffer over Ferrari this weekend, and we're still almost 70 clear of Aston Martin behind us. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back tomorrow when Formula 1 returns to the Temple of Speed. There, I think we can fight for the win again.